Let me introduce you to filters in CSS. First of all, to apply a filter, let's use an image that we can use to apply filters on. And we take our car.jpg file, and now we will give our image a class, or we don't even need a class. We're going to style our image by using the image tag. We're going to use a width of maybe 500 pixels. We're going to save the file, and now we have this car basically. So let's apply some filters, and you can apply a filter by using the filter property inside of CSS. And if you just type out the filter property followed by a colon, Visual Studio Code should already suggest you a couple of filters. And one of the filters will basically be blur. You can define a blur amount inside of the blur property of 10 pixels, for example. And as you can see, we now have a blur. Instead of the blur, let's add the brightness, for example. So let's again write filter, brightness, and let's maybe say we want to have a brightness of 1, which is the base value, so the default value. We can also say we want to have 1.3, which would be a little bit brighter, 2 would be a lot brighter, and if we go to 0.5, for example, or 4, it would be a little bit darker. Now we can also increase the contrast by using the contrast property and say, yeah, let's have a contrast of 1, which is default, 2, it's a little bit more, and 0.3, it's a lot less. The grayscale basically just adds a grayscale, if you want to say so. Let's add 1 right here. Let's add 0.3. So this basically just turns your image into a gray scaled image, if you want to say so. You can also use drop shadow by using the filter property. So this is a little similar to the box shadow, if you want to say so. So we could also use an X offset 10 pixels, Y offset 10 pixels, the blur amount 10 pixels, for example, or let's make a stronger blur by 20 pixels by using 20 pixels, and let's use black as the color. And as you can see, we now have our drop shadow right here. And this is basically the X value, that's the Y value, that's the blur, and that's the color. And that is just how you could add a drop shadow by using the filter property. And this is all you need to know about filters in CSS.